Hi guys! So this video is on a question that I get asked more than probably any question in the world, and that is how I make money while I travel and live the lifestyle that I do. For those of you who don't know, I have been traveling full-time for the past decade. In that time, I've visited over 60 countries and have done a lot of different jobs. And I've been asked this so much on my social media for many years, but I've never really responded because it's always felt a little bit invasive to me and kind of uncomfortable to explain to someone I don't know on a long message how I make money. Somehow making a video about it for everyone to see seems less invasive. So before I share my experience, I want to say a couple things about traveling the world. Number one is there's no big secret. Literally anyone can do this. I truly believe it's just a matter of choice. Once you choose to prioritize traveling, you'll make the changes in your life to make it happen. I really think that the main thing that's holding people back from living this kind of lifestyle is simply their fears. And number two is there's a huge misconception that traveling the world is expensive, and that's simply just not the case. I've met so many people who are just like me, wandering around the world, and they do it at a very low cost. I'm originally from Vancouver, Canada, and when I go back home and see my friends, their lifestyle budget is way higher than mine as I'm traveling. Between car payments, house payments, nights out with friends, weekend getaways, shopping sprees, their budget is minimum double what mine usually is. For example, I lived in Thailand and my budget there was 1,000 to 1,500 Canadian per month, and I was living comfortably from that. When I used to live in Vancouver, my rent was 1,200 per month, so you can see the difference there. Also, flights between countries in places like Asia and Europe are super cheap, so it's easy to move around countries without spending a lot. Last year, I was in Nepal and I had my European friend with me. After 1 month, he was stressed out about how much money he spent. We were pretty much doing the same thing every day. We'd have lunches together, go check out the markets. He told me he spent 2,000 euros. At that point, I had only spent $200 Canadian. I think when you get in the mindset that this is an actual lifestyle and not just a vacation that you can splurge on, you're more aware of your spending. So I'll talk a little bit about my work. When I was about 16, I knew I wanted to travel, but I didn't have the money for a passport yet. So I did a lot of research on travel jobs within Canada, and I found a ton of jobs that offered accommodation. I ended up working for a door-to-door company that traveled all throughout Western Canada, and the company offered a car and accommodation. So through a couple years of working for them, I got to see a lot of Canada. And once I saved enough money, I got my passport and I researched jobs all around the world. I found a job in China, and I was just getting out of a serious relationship. I really just wanted to get as far away as possible. And I remember when I was a little girl and I used to dig holes in the ground, my dad would say, if you keep digging, you're gonna end up in China. So in my mind, I was like, okay, China is the furthest that I can get, so I'm gonna go there. It was a nightclub job, and I really didn't know what to expect. I kind of took a leap, and it did turn out to go well for me. I went on a one-way ticket and spent a year around that area. I ended up networking and meeting other owners of different clubs and restaurants from different countries in Asia. So for the good part of the next couple of years, I worked throughout Asia. I was bartending, waitressing, modeling, writing, personal training, teaching yoga. I did a ton of random jobs. And I know a lot of people say, okay, this is easier for a girl, but I've met a lot of wanderers who are just picking up random jobs as they travel. There's always jobs in the service industry, in farming, at hostels. Hostels are always willing to hire travelers in exchange for accommodation. There's also a lot of work and volunteer exchanges around the world, and some really good websites that you can check out. I've personally worked at farms throughout Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and North America. If you do your research, you'll be able to find something. After a while, I found my passion in teaching yoga, and now that's primarily what I do while I travel. I'll contact studios in the city that I'm traveling to and offer to teach workshops or classes while I'm in the area. A lot of times I'll get hired, or I can get accommodation in exchange for work. And you can do this with a lot of different jobs. You just can't be afraid to ask. My other passion is writing, which I did for a long time while I was traveling, just freelance writing about travel and yoga. And I really loved it, but at the moment I'm concentrating more on getting videos out and a few other projects. Currently I'm finishing my first book that I've been working on for the last couple years, and that will be out this summer. Also, when I was around 25, 26, I realized that I had to have some kind of foundation. So I was really careful with my spendings and saved all my money and ended up investing in a few different platforms. I've invested in real estate and startups for a few years. Business has always come naturally for me, and when I was traveling, I met a lot of people who had really great business ideas, but not the funds to support them. So I took a chance on a few different projects, and luckily for me, they did turn out well. I can also say that I'm not very high maintenance when I travel, and this is something that you pick up after living in more undeveloped countries. In the past 7 years of traveling, I've lived out of my car or van for minimum 3 years. I'm actually going home next week and I'll be living out of my van for the entire summer. Personally, I've always felt that paying expensive rent is just pointless. So I've lived in vehicles or hostels and room shares quite a bit during my travels. If you follow me on social media, you'll also probably see that I attend a lot of festivals. Almost always I'm volunteering at these festivals, and I've contacted the organizers beforehand and asked if there's anything I can do to help out to cover my camping and ticket. Other than that, I don't really go out and party. If I can avoid restaurants, I will. If I have to book a room, I try to get an Airbnb so I have my own kitchen and I don't have to spend money on restaurants rather than getting a hotel. So I definitely suggest doing your research and just look for overseas jobs. You can teach English, be a nanny, teach yoga, pick fruit. There's so many opportunities if you are open to them. And my final advice is to just go for it. Get off YouTube now, book a ticket, get on the flight, and just go for it. I went to China on a one-way ticket. I had no idea what to expect, and I didn't come back till 4 years later. The life of your dreams is on the other side of your comfort zone, I promise. If I can do it, you can do it. But before you get off YouTube, please subscribe to my channel, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions, just comment below and I'll do my best to answer them. Now I gotta go pack for my next adventure. Bye.